Welcome to the Thomas Playbook. Thank you for listening.
I am Tshepo Pule, a husband of one and father of two. For years, my identity had been tied to what I do for a living until the year 2020 when everything fell apart. #COVID-19. Almost 5 years ago, I became a father for the first time, and I thought I was ready. Looking down at my son's chubby cheeks, my heart filled with pure joy and trepidation, seeing my exhausted wife on the bed after a water birth, I vowed to be the best father ever. It turns out, I wasn't entirely ready to be the best father ever. I had not prepared accordingly for the different stages in my life, career, marriage, and parenting. I have since lost my job, and therefore have chosen to be fully focused on what's important to me. I'm doing right by my vow, and I'm hoping to foster a community of fathers that share similar values. Welcome to the Timers Playbook, a podcast series on fatherhood, proudly produced by 1730 Media.
So, was the reaction for me, or were you like, I'm going to be a dad? Does it have meaning or does it not have meaning?
You know, it was more like, oh, fuck, what now? That was the overriding feeling. You know, like when you discover that you're going to be a father, like what do you do next? You know? So the initial thing, like when you tell someone they're going to be a father, I could see how you're supposed to react. But like I'm saying, for me, it was like, what now? Okay, and then I need to go back into my normal framework, which is how do we plan for this? How do we sort this out? What do we do? You know, because that's what I do.
Dude, like I just told you, like I sent you like a picture that says you're going to be a dad. Like that was you get stumped, and then your default is what are we going to do?
No, it's not so much as what are we going to do. It's okay. Then what's the game plan? Because there has to be a game plan again.
No, Lavi, it's just I found out that afternoon, so I let you know that evening, and that was now we're gonna have a baby.
But I think it's more like then how did you read my reaction then?
You didn't have one, so it's kind of the same like the day you proposed, you know, and so when I finally saw you, you were at the boot or something, like you're taking out something out of the boot, and just like your whole face, like if you're white, you'd be pale. You know, you looked uncomfortable, but it wasn't a negative uncomfortable. Like you're right. You were very unsure of what now type thing.
Yeah.
And you sort of took your cue from me because I was just like giddy and excited, you know? So he's like, okay, I'll be giddy and excited.
Yeah.
So, 5 years down the line, how's it been, Papa Bear?
Oh no, fatherhood is great. No, fatherhood is amazing. To me, fatherhood makes sense, and I think that's what I kept saying that day. I actually kept saying this is a good thing. This is a good thing. No, 5 years it's been overall it's been good. It's been challenging also. So there are a lot of things I have to think about all the time, you know, in relation to my family. But overall, I enjoy the idea of being a father. Like it doesn't feel foreign to me. It doesn't feel like it's difficult. Doesn't feel like a chore. It just feels natural to me. And I think we're lucky also because you got two great kids that they do make it easy. It's not like they don't tell you what they need or what they don't need. You know, so yeah, no, I enjoy fatherhood. Like I'm in a good place now in relation to me being a dad.
What were your biggest challenges
in relation to being a father? I always thought it was going to be money. You know, the initial thing is to obviously think that the toughest part about being a dad is that you don't have money and you can't provide. But it's actually time and being present. You know, so the kids required me and you to be there for them regardless of whatever. You know, so if they needed you to wake up in the middle of the night, they needed to change, they need a bottle, whatever it is, they just needed you to be there. And you thought that I was not there because I was working and I was doing, like, trying to run a career and stuff that has gone to shit now. I think with some jobs, the toughest part was just not being there all the time. You know, coming home late. I mean, there was some jobs where I had to come home late and I didn't enjoy that. I knew that it's important that either part of the day, whether morning or whatever, I want to be there for it. and for everything. And that caused some tension between us also, you know, and I couldn't help it. Because that's the job that you signed up for. But I get it, the only way to help it is to change the job or to fight to have freedom so that you can do what you needed to do, you know. So that was the big challenge. But to be honest, I just thought I don't know what I'm doing.
Nobody ever does.
I get it. That's why we're here doing this thing. I also feel like there's been so many parents before us before.
Yeah.
And even though nobody knows, there is some information you can tap into. You know, so I didn't factor in that the kids are going to go through different stages.
No, you did not.
And so when a stage comes, it doesn't mean that everything is applicable to my child as per the person that wrote a book or whatever is. But there are some things you can learn, you know, like when the child is 2, when it's 3, when they're teething, want to look out for, when there's a growth spurt. So there are things that you can learn. And I didn't prepare myself accordingly. I just thought, I'll know what to do.
And you used to fight me when I was telling you like what to do.
Yeah, but you were also trying to figure it out.
No, we were, but like I had a plan. I had a baseline. I read everything. I went through Samu. I went through Sandy. Like teething fever, it's always what I try to explain to people. Just because you are informed and you have knowledge of things and how they should go doesn't actually mean that when the moment comes, you're equipped. You know, and that applies for everything. I mean, our first kid, TJ, is amazing. And there's no book written about kids like TJ because it doesn't exist. He's an anomaly, which is why we're so happy to have a second one who's the perfect template for every book written about toddlers. But I'm the mom. You should always trust the mom because the mom knows what's up. Always.
Yeah, okay. I'll take your word for it.
You don't have.
No, I'm joking. Yes, that's right.
And what were some of your most favorite things about being a dad?
Like right now, or just when I started?
Like in general, I mean, like it's been 5 years. You got 2 kids, 2 and 4. What's the vibe? Like, what's the best thing about either of them?
The best thing about being a father, I would say, is that these people love you for you. You know, because they don't know that maybe I'm a douche, like deep down, but they haven't figured that out yet. You know, so your kids just love you. They want to be around you, you know, all the time. They want to show you things. They want you to acknowledge them. And for me, that's the coolest thing. Like your kids run, you know, because like I said, a lot of these things I've never seen before. I've never experienced. I don't have any younger siblings. I don't know any cousins. I don't know any of this. Yeah, but we were like, how old is he? He's 26 and I'm 38. I was like 10.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, you mean like close in age to you?
Yeah, or you and the nephews and nieces, like at an age where you can be helping to
look after
them. So I didn't have that experience, you know? So and they were all new to me. So the idea that there's someone out there who actually just loves you for you and wants your attention is great. When they discovering information is amazing. You can see that everything is new to them. The world is new. They're interested in everything. They want to play with everything. So
they want to eat everything.
They want to eat and experiment, you know. So we, as adults, we do lose a lot of that. And your kids constantly remind you, like they'll see something new. Like to you, it's not new because you've been seeing it for years. To them, it's new. So you have to explain it. And now I'm really enjoying them discovering new music. So I'll play a song and I'm like, let me test out the song with my firstborn. And if he likes it, then it's all good. Then I think I'm all right with my musical taste.
And I have my own opinions on that.
And you have your own opinion on that. So no, kids just love you, man. And because of that, everything just makes sense. Doesn't matter how bad or good your day is. Your kids will run to you like it's the first time they see you. And that is always cool.
No, that's amazing. Like in the morning, you come downstairs and like they just run up like, hello, mommy.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
So when I wake them up in the morning, they both want a hug first. So they want to sit with me for a little bit before they wake up, which is always nice. Yeah, well, so it doesn't matter what the day was like or how I woke up, because sometimes I'm grumpy when I wake up. But the kids, they just want to hug you. So it's a good time to enjoy it and just have fun with it. Because there'll come a time when they realize, Dad, you're not the thing that you said you were. You know, you're just a regular dude. And then they're over you. So I'm noticing that now and I'm enjoying that.
And speaking about getting over your dad, like, how did that work for you? Or how did you get over your dad?
I didn't have to get over my dad because I never knew my father. You know, any idea that I thought I had about my father was dismantled very quickly. So the little interactions I had with my father, he was not there, like he wasn't present. You know, so when we were kids, my mom would force us to go visit him. So baba mbikahlali ezola nanekudilo kutube. So get taxi one just Zola. She'll just put us on a taxi and we'll go there. And when we get there, this guy will just go arregly the chips, go spaza and coke. And then we sit there for a little bit and then he'd go off and do his own thing. Well, that's my memory anyways. So I actually wonder what my sister's memory is of my father. You know? Mm-hmm. And I think this happened maybe once or twice a year. But beyond that, I don't really know my father. I don't have a relationship. I'd never had. He was passed away now. I didn't have a relationship with him. I actually resented and hated my father for the longest time. So throughout my 20s, when I thought that I really needed a father, you know. So, and all the questions I had could never be answered. So my father, even when he came home, when by home I mean to our house, Kutubi, he just get there. First thing he does, unrumapia. And then he just drink and get drunk, you know. So if I was playing in the street and I see my father, I'd actually just run away. So that it was not even him. Like next about Rumapi, I actually hated that. Now that I enjoy beer so much. You know? So we've never had a conversation. We've never spoken. I don't remember it about anything. You know, it could be even football. I don't remember us speaking about football. I know I support the Pirates. So I made sure I support the Chiefs. Like proper.
So are you like saying that because your dad was one way, you made sure that you were another?
I think so. You know, I think that's why part of what I do is the way it is now. You know, I never thought about it up until now, where I've gone on this journey to try to understand my family and where I'm from. And I think a lot of what I do is to try to get one up on my father. You know, so to be, you know, daddy issues, hashtag, they never go away.
So you're like secretly competing with him?
I don't know. It's not
be an awesome dad.
It's not much of a competition, to be honest. So I'm winning hands down.
Nigga is dead, bro.
I know. You know, no, but listen. If you have a shitty father, you can go either way, right? You can just repeat what he was and say that's what you knew, or you can go completely the different direction. So I've gone the complete direction, different, but that is based on that experience. That's a huge part of it.
Okay.
You know, and that's just not my dad. It's also just how I grew up. We didn't grow up in like your family. I won't say love. It's loving in its own way, but it's not, let me say, warm. You know what I mean? So it's not, we don't hug. I think I've hugged my mother maybe once or twice. I think. I can't remember. My sister, forget about it. We don't hug at all. You hug my sister more than I do. You know? So we're not from that kind of family. So with my kids, I am very, what's the word? I'm very intimate with my kids.
Yeah.
I love my children. I kiss them, I hug them, whatever. Like
playful.
I'm very playful with them. You know, and I make sure that it's clear, it's present, it's there all the time. And I think I will do it up and even if they tell me not to do it. I don't think I'll ever stop loving, kissing my kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a personal question.
Aren't these all personal?
No. The day you found out that your dad died.
Yeah. No, this is personal.
How did you feel?
I didn't feel anything, to be honest. And the funeral itself was weird. And I think you were there. You're expected to mourn somebody you don't know. You know, and what's ko kasujwang. Oh, kina malume smangmang. Hey, yangazi mina malume. Hey, ngkhula la udlalela la watoto. Like that's all weird. You know, I don't know the guy. I never knew my father. I actually didn't want to go to the funeral. My mother said I need to go. And I was like, you're forcing issues. All these things that you and I understand now, like about funerals, when you need to be there, what happens, you know, afterwards, blah, 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 blah. So all these rituals before and after the funeral that need to happen, they never happened. So I actually did them now recently after the whole thing, like to be introduced to the ancestors and so forth. to be welcomed into the home where he stayed, you know, to do the right things, as in his people, culturally his people, my people where I'm from, need to understand who I am and why I'm here. Those things were never done. So I am doing them now. That's why I'm saying with my dad, we're cool now. We're getting there. We're getting to understand each other through the extended family and everybody else who's left behind, you know?
Okay.
So no, my dad's passing did not affect me. I don't think directly, but indirectly did, you know, because then I realized that if I don't make peace with his passing and his life, I will not have peace.
Okay. And now, interestingly enough, that like informs a guy's legacy, right?
Sure.
So what's your stance? Because you've got two boys who are very, very different.
Yes.
And they're an amazing blend of who we both are.
Yes.
Actually, in different ways. So as far as legacy goes, like, what's your vibe on that for them? What do you want your legacy to be for your children?
Well, before I get to my legacy to them, I strongly feel, I used to have this idea that my kids are my legacy, right? And for some reason, somehow, I need to indoctrinate them into my kind of thinking and so forth, like all this weird stuff that parents do, like for their children, whatever. Now, I think for them to know about their father is I have to live up to my highest expectation of myself. So I have to live up to everything that I said I want to do, you know? I have to sort my own house out. I have to tell my stories. I have to live to my highest values. And that's the legacy that I can leave for them. You know, for them, they need to sort out their own legacy. They need to figure out what impact they want to leave on this world. You know, so I am learning, I am teaching them, I am guiding them. But ultimately, my biggest dream for them is that they become who they want to be. And they're independent and they're accountable and they develop in a way and very quickly. You know, self-development for them is very important. They need to figure out their value system as quick as possible and be accountable to that and to themselves only. They aren't accountable to me, you know. In a legal scenario, yeah, sure, for certain things, but ultimately they need to be their own people and they need to create their own legacy. But the only way they're going to do that, well, not the only way, one of the ways is if they see their father doing it and it's evident that it's possible. I can say it, but if I'm saying one thing and I turn around and I'm a useless drunkard father, then I'm being a hypocrite.
Hashtag to the drunken fathers out there.
You know, and that's what happens a lot. It's like someone tells you something but they live their life completely opposite to that. And it's not to say that we're not all fallible, right? We make mistakes. And that's okay too. Your children need to learn as quick as possible that you aren't Superman or Superwoman. And that's okay. You know, even now when we make mistakes, we tell them, dude, it was a mistake. I wasn't focused. And they'll say to you, why? And I'm like, because I keep telling them, focus, you know, look at what you're doing, pay attention. And when I'm not doing it, I have to say to them, yo, dude, I wasn't paying attention. And
my favorite was like, Mommy, you're being naughty. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. Sorry, man. It's okay. You're still my friend.
And that's the honesty that they start to understand at a very early age. Obviously, the conversation has to be age appropriate. I get that. But we can't start lying to kids from early. Like every time I just say, because I said so. I know that what I'm doing is just bullshit. You know, because that doesn't make sense. Like there has to be a reason because I always want a reason out of them.
Well, aren't you glad I'm your wife, huh?
Yes, Tessa.
To knock some sense into you. So tell me, what is your most favorite memory of being a dad? Or like at least top 3 or top 5?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Because there's a lot. Our kids are hectic people. They're very busybodies.
I mean, obviously, I think this is a given, but I don't know if it's a given for everybody. When they were born, you know, I mean, obviously, because TJ was the first one. And I mean, that was a smooth pregnancy, if ever there was one, right? You had a good time. We had a great time. We went out. There were no issues. It was a water birth. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on. You know?
Not really.
Okay, you don't know. And you grabbed me and you were slipping and sliding, and then 1 minute the baby was there. And I was like, yo, no, that's it now. Life is different now. I remember when TJ was born, I don't remember coming home with him. So I don't remember the first night he was at home.
Okay.
I remember when he was born. Like I don't think anybody can forget a water birth and you were there halfway in the bath. That's hard to forget. And I think after that, like a few days after that, was a bit of a blur, because we're just now trying to figure out what was happening. All I remember was that the house was very warm for a very long time. And these kids were born in December. And obviously the second one, because it has to be an emergency Caesar, that stays with me forever. So that's what I remember the most about the second one, is that it was a very worrying time, to say the least. But not just for him, but also for you, because you couldn't really be with him immediately after that. They had to take him to neonatal. And you were in a different hospital, he had to go to a different one, so I had to be there, so I had to go between all this stuff. So I'll never forget that stuff.
Actually, I've never asked you how you felt that whole time. My default thing, and I think this is from you, was that he always say, like, if there's an emergency or whatever, you just sort it out and then you'll cry later. So at that time, it was more about I have this thing that I need to sort out. I must make sure the kid is okay. My wife must also be okay, because you were freaking out because you couldn't be with your kid. So I had to go to you and then to him, and then that you need to express and then give him milk and then make sure he's okay. And so for me, it was just, it's automatic. Let's just do it. I actually didn't know if the kid was going to survive, to be honest. And for me was, I need to prepare for any eventuality. So that was my big thing, was for some reason I needed to be pragmatic during that time. Yeah. And that was the overriding feeling. And I think that's how I handle things that are difficult, is if I'm pragmatic about it, then I can get through it. But I genuinely didn't but part of me was like, you need to prepare if this guy doesn't survive. I didn't know that before.
Okay. But then he survived.
No, we came home. We both came home.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you're asking about memories. So I'm trying to figure out. It's a hard one. I won't lie. I can't say their first birthday or whatever. But I'll say milestones. Like when I started communicating with my firstborn, that was awesome. Because I feel like now we can have a conversation. Sure, it's with a 5-year-old. But all I've ever wanted was to talk to this guy. Just end of that. Listen here. That's all I've ever wanted. And now the second one also is coming into that. So we're slowly starting to speak. So the different milestones, when they learn new words, new phrases. And I think the school has been great also. Because you know me, I've because like I said, I've never really helped raise a kid. So when everything happens, they come back with a new word. I'm like, But I guess it's natural, right? They're going to learn new words eventually. And new ideas. Yeah, and new ideas. So I'm enjoying it. Even when, like Lamborghini. Like Lambo. Or when my son threatened me and he said, as soon as I turn 15, he's going to beat me up. So part of me was like, okay, cool. That's a challenge. You're on. But it means also those things, it's going to be a different phase. You know, so maybe we can do other stuff together, like box together or whatever, which would be cool. And what's the hardest thing you've experienced being as a dad? Being a father, I don't find it difficult. Mm-hmm. The difficulty is in my own things in my head. You know what I mean? So, like the stuff that needs to be done for fatherhood, of how I interpret what it needs to be fatherhood, whether it's operationally, like waking up, lunch, food, picking up the kids, going to school, I don't find that part difficult. No, you don't. Of course, there's a lot to do, but from day one, I was always willing to wake up and be with the kids. So that part is not difficult. The difficulty with my life and everything else, it's always just in my head. You know what I mean? So even in the beginning when I said, regardless of whether I don't have full-time work and I don't have the money that I needed, that's irrelevant to my kids. You know, my kids are not only raised by money. More than anything, it's the presence of the parents all the time that is required. You know, how we want to raise them in terms of lifestyle and homes and schools, that is up to us.
That's our nonsense.
Yeah, so the kids don't sit there and say, I want to go to this particular school when I grow up, whatever. I guess they will one day. But for now, at this age, I mean, we're going to go pick them up now, right? What are they going to want? They're going to want their favorite song in the car. So I just got to make sure that the phone
The
works.
music is there.
But what kind of phone or what kind of Bluetooth is irrelevant. The song must be there.
And then there must be an ice lolly.
There must be an ice lolly when they get home. Maybe they'll want some watermelon, whatever. So it's like simple things like that. So I don't find fatherhood difficult. I find getting out of my own head difficult.
But then how has that changed? How has fatherhood changed your relationships with other men, other fathers, and other children, other people's children?
It hasn't.
At all.
But that's why also this is my way of reaching out to other fathers. You know, so that I guess we have a starting off point to have a conversation about something else other than sports or girls or alcohol or
Work. And money.
You know, so these are the conversations that need to happen. So my relationship with other males hasn't really changed. And I think it's simply because whenever we're around each other, it's more or less the same bullshit, which I think we should change and add layers to it. You know, I don't think it should completely go away, but I think this would be an opportunity to have different kinds of conversations that are actually elevating and moving us forward. In terms of other people's children, I still struggle with other people's children. I am sympathetic.
Sympathetic.
Yeah, I think it's because me and other fathers are not close. So it's generally their mothers that come through when you're asking me that question again. So it's their mothers, and they generally come in to see you. And there's like, if there's not one of them, there's 10 of them. So immediately then I distance myself. But we've never had a situation where it's just the fathers that come to the house or we go to theirs and we're hanging out. And I get to learn a bit more about their kids, see how they work with them, they react. You know the advice that your sister gave us, right? When we become parents, that you need to let the other person figure out their own way of being a parent. So I can do that with you, right? I can't do that when there's 5-10 mothers around. Because society and even our friends, funny enough, at this age, it's just assumed for some reason that dads just don't know better. You know? Or they're at a disadvantage, or you understand things better. But even you can't say to me, I don't know about my children. There's things that I don't care for, right? That you do very well. There's things that I do very well. But ultimately, we know our kids very well. You can leave me with kids for days. You've done it before.
I could do it again soon.
And the people that worry are other people, not me.
Not me.
Like, I don't worry that I'm going to be alone with my kids. Or, I don't know what to do, or this or that. You know, I'm cool.
Yeah, like I don't even leave you with a list of instructions.
But society just assumes that dads need help more than everybody else. So when they get into that framework, I'm like, okay, sharp. Then I just buy out.
Okay. Wow. If you had to speak to an expected dad, what would you say?
I do a lot when I find out. I'm saying when I find out. I always tell them to be there. Be there for the birth. That's the first thing. You know? Well, that's the second thing. But be there throughout. Like, enjoy the process. Go with her to her checkups. Doesn't matter what they are. You need to make time for that. Because it happens once per child. It's not going to happen again. You know? So experience it, know it, be there for your wife, because she needs to be happy and comfortable, because ultimately you are carrying the child. It doesn't matter what I say, you know. If you are in distress, there's problems. You know, even though my energy is there, I understand, but ultimately you are the carrier of the baby. So my thing is make sure the wife is happy, or partner, whatever, is comfortable. And then do not miss the birth, whatever you do. Even if you're not together. You know, and I always say to those that are not together, like, where are you going to be? Like, who's going to be recording that? Because you can't have that moment back, you know? So you need to be there for that, you know? And unlike me, now I do agree that learn as much as you can about this parenting thing. You know, it doesn't give you everything, but learn about it. So certain things will make sense as they happen. You know, so learn as much as you can, empower yourself with knowledge, even if it's just from parents or uncles or mothers, people that have been through this thing, you know, and try as hard as you can not to make your life rotate around the kids. Create a life for everybody that makes sense. Because once we do that, that could potentially lead to resentment of the situation or the mother or the kid, and that's not good. You know, but I think that all boils down to what kind of value system you have for yourself and your family. And it all makes sense, you know, but just take it a day at a time. Pay attention, just enjoy your kids, look at what they're doing, and that's it. The rest you'll figure out. I mean, it all comes naturally eventually. And make sure you have a great partner. Ungasipatisa umuntu kanti uyamazi lo sisi unjani. Yabo ayikabi, but you know, so find somebody that has the same value system as you, even if you're not together, so that you can raise these kids in a way that both of you agree on. Because if you don't agree on how to raise the kids, it's going to be a problem, and eventually it'll lead, you'll be polarized, and you force the kid to choose. So parents can be separated or divorced or whatever, but they can agree on the principality of how best to raise these kids, even when they don't agree on certain things. So that's very important.
Are you looking forward to being a granddad?
No, of course not. For whom?
Like in 20 years. Watching TJ hold another TJ.
Yeah, I mean...
Pause with these little mini Lwandle there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just take them over. You know? Yeah, because I like babies.
Oh.
You know I like babies. Like when they're that small, like I enjoy that. Marakitse when they'll have children. So maybe I'll be tired. You know, and if I'm tired, they must make a plan. Don't involve me. Don't harass me. Yeah.
You must do granddad things.
Listen, if they come to me and at 80 and they make me a grandfather, it's late for them. You understand?
When they must make you a grand...
No, how old are they now? They're 5.
You had kids like in your mid-30s. So what were you hoping for?
No, I wasn't hoping for anything. So what, they 5. TJ's 5 now, right? So let's say if he has a kid at 25, 20 years time.
You'll be?
58.
That's not so bad.
You know?
That's actually not bad at all.
60, I'm all right. I'll be fit. So I'm cool. Yes, I can be a granddad then.
Okay. But he mustn't wait till he's 35.
He mustn't wait too long, you know? But also he mustn't rush it. You know? Or he doesn't have to have kids if he doesn't want to also.
TJ is going to have kids.
We don't know.
TJ, he's going to have kids. On that note.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Tessa. Cool, man. Thank you so much for listening and streaming this episode. Please get onto your favorite audio streaming service, like, share, and subscribe. And please rate the content. It really helps us with content discovery. Appreciate your support as always. Thank you. Sharp. Proudly produced by 1730 Media.
That was the Timer's Playbook. Thank you for listening. See you on the next episode. Sharp.